In our previous class lessons, we talked about energy transfer, and today I'm going to remind you guys again about what I told you about thermal energy. Thermal energy is the energy which we say is transferred when there's a transfer of heat from one body to another body. Today we want to know how the thermal energy is transferred. Before now, I took my time to explain to you what we mean by kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy a body possesses as a result of its movement from one location to another location. The energy possessed by a body as a result of its motion is called kinetic energy, while potential energy is the energy a body possesses as a result of its position. If an object is standing in a position, we say it has potential energy. And now we need to understand perfectly that the particles of a substance have kinetic energy due to their motion and potential energy due to their positions. Now we have to know by some pictures I'm going to draw here now. Let's say we have a container this way. Then we have the particles this way. We have some particles joined together in this way. We have particles in this form. We can say the particles are tightly packed together, and we can really say this is an example of a solid. It doesn't necessarily mean that the particles are not moving, but they're vibrating in a position. They are vibrating against each other in one position. So now we say the energy is stored, or the power they have in them as a result of the position is called potential energy. It's called potential energy. And after you try to make the particles move faster, and we can make the particles move faster by trying to add heat energy. Let's say you have the particles this way, and after some times you decided to add heat energy, and the particles will start to move faster because the heat energy which you transferring, maybe you're trying to use a boiler or a heater to create heat. Now we're gonna say the thermal energy in the heat is transferred from the boiler to the particle, and the particle will start to vibrate more faster, to the extent in the particle the force of attraction within the particles will become looser than the way it used to be before. So now we can say as the particles are trying to vibrate and move farther away from each other, we will say it's possessing kinetic energy. It's possessing kinetic energy because of its motion. And now when we talk about thermal energy, we need to differentiate between what heat is and thermal energy is. Thermal energy is the energy or we can say the total kinetic energy and potential energy of the particle in a substance. Now let me use this as an example for you. Where we have this container here, this container has particle in them. These are the particles of the water in this container. And now the total potential energy and the total kinetic energy of the particle in this container is called the kinetic energy. The total potential energy and kinetic energy in this particle is called the thermal energy. When there's heat transfer, let's say you have a pot, you're trying to cook something, you have a pot. you put in a pot on a stove or in a cooker, and you trying to, maybe you have a water put inside it. Then the water particles are this way. Then after sometimes when you apply the heat energy, the particles will start to move more farther away from each other because there's exchange of energy from potential energy to kinetic energy. This is what we call that thermal energy is being transferred from the heater to the substance inside the container, which is water, and the water becomes hot. This is what thermal energy is. Heat is that thing which we use to transfer thermal energy. Heat is quite different from thermal energy. Whenever there's a heat transfer from one part of the body to another part of the body, we say there is the energy transfer, which is called thermal energy. This differentiates between heat and thermal energy.